Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Air the Ninth. I welcome you today to this little topic that I wanted to talk to you about. I'm not sure if you've heard of the freeform show known as Motherland Fort Salem. It's a show that follows an alternate universe America, an America in which witches are real, and the Salem witch trials ended in a treaty of sorts. One in which girls would be conscripted to Fort Salem, where they would be educated in the art of witchcraft, and basically they would become recruits in an army to fight in the physical and magical defense of America, right? It's a very interesting concept. I like the idea, exploring magical realism through this alternate universe America, especially when you set it with something like the Salem witch trials. Already it insinuates that witches are real, you know what I'm saying? And I like how it explores the story. I watched the first season, and to be honest, I enjoyed how the first season presented its characters. I know that in this age of woke media, having a show that's like all female cast is a bit of a red flag. Get ready for the man bashing script. But Motherland Fort Salem was not like that at all. I mean, sure, it certainly depicted some men as assholes or weaker, but I do not think that it did this because of woke media. It did this because of the world in which the story is set, the world in which the military becomes primarily matriarchal. To be honest with you, I'm a kind of a fan of the show. I kind of really, really like it. Except for one aspect of the show. I like the idea, the concept of the show. I like the magical realism. I like how they explore the characters, and the characters themselves are excellent. I can't stress enough how lazy it is to just be a man-bashing show when women are at the center of your story. You know what I'm saying? And how much I appreciate the fact that this show doesn't make men insignificant or bumbling idiots. Men are certainly more supporting characters or supporting figures in this world. But that has nothing to do with woke media or anything. That just has everything to do with the world they live in. In a world where witches are at the top of the food chain, what do you expect? That some guy who pumps iron for 6 hours a day is going to be the guy? Of course not. The thing that I criticize the most is a simple one. The world building. When they do a good enough job of world building, the first time you see something alien to you, you don't need an explanation because you already know what that is. That's good world building. Now, the problem with Motherland Fort is a simple one. They do a good job of establishing the world building, when it's not necessarily relevant, explaining things to you when they're not relevant. The part where they suck at is showing you that thing. It's annoying to have these women talk about, I was at war in the Himalayas. We were fighting for weeks at a time. We were pinned down and we're fighting for weeks. And I'm like, I would like to see that. I would like to see what a long battle between witches, what a military battle looks like. Because it's like you can see a shootout between two men in Texas who don't like each other, and they both draw pistols and just start unloading. But that's not the same as a military engagement, which is why for me it's important for me to see a military engagement of witches against witches. Every time we saw magic in the first season of the show, the fight is over within 5 minutes. Within 5 minutes, the fight is over. And I'm talking about 5 minutes in their world, not even like 5 real world viewing minutes. You know what I'm saying? It's just a spell, and it's over. You know what I'm saying? Like these matches, these fights, or at least when they utilize just magic and nothing else, nothing ever goes beyond, like it's just a 5-minute exchange of magic and there's a victor. Now, how am I supposed to believe that you fought somebody or your platoon fought somebody for weeks? How does that happen? What does that look like? What does it look like when you fight for weeks? And that's my problem with Motherland Fort. Like, they do so much world building with regard to battles and armies and fighting out there and being deployed. You know what I'm saying? But you never see anything that looks like that. You know, the entire first season I'm watching and I'm like, you know what? It's cool. It's gonna happen on City Drop, right? City Drop is like the episode pre-season finale, so the episode before the final episode. Okay, City Drop. It's gonna happen during City Drop. During City Drop, we're gonna see a proper engagement because it's supposed to be a training exercise, the closest thing to real combat that these girls are gonna experience. You know what City Drop was? City Drop was an empty plastic bottle. That's what City Drop was. An empty plastic bottle and then girls yelling at each other. That's what City Drop was. And it was such a fucking disappointment. I'm actually thinking about it actually pisses me off right now. It gets me a little bit heated. You know what I'm saying? Because I was waiting for that and someone just opened a fucking plastic bottle. There were screams and shit. And then people were arguing. And that's it. That's it. This is supposed to be a simulation of a combat experience, and that's it? Bruh, that shit left me feeling some type of way. I don't want to lie to y'all. Let me give you guys an example of a show that is exactly like Motherland Fort, but it does the thing that I'm complaining about right. This show is called The Saga of Tanya the Evil. Now, any of you weeaboos out there will know that The Saga of Tanya the Evil is an anime. You know, the Japanese name is Yojo Senki, which I think translates to young girls war, young girls being plural. So you can see it's also got the same kind of concept, similar kind of concept, where magic has been discovered in this world and is being applied into military engagements, but largely the users of magic are young girls. Hey guys, sorry to suddenly abruptly interrupt my own video, but this video was actually meant to come out like a week ago, and I've been having copyright issues with this little segment from Yojo Senki. I'm hoping to God that I can still show it to you without any sound, sped up a bit, and I won't get any copyright issues. If I do, then I'm sorry for whatever I ended up showing in the end. But the point that I was trying to make by showing you this was how Yojo Senki, or The Saga of Tanya the Evil, starts the show by showing us an alternate universe, World War I, in which girls, witches, and magic users are implemented into the actual war. And you see it. There is no world building. There is no lore established. You just see, trench warfare. You see all the stuff that is synonymous with those, First and Second World Wars. And then you see the place magic has on the battlefield. And this was really what I wanted to illustrate, the difference between how they handle it here and how it's handled in Motherland Fort, where it's a lot of world building but not a lot of payoff. Anyway, I'm looking forward to season 2 of both shows, and I hope you guys enjoy. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Seeing how magic is practically applied on the battlefield before it's explained to you that this is magic. You know what I'm saying? So now, for the rest of the season of Yojo Senki, no matter what they're talking about, you know what I'm saying? No matter what kind of battle they're talking about, no matter what kind of, battle plans, strategies, all of that kind of stuff, you already know what it looks like. Motherland Fort, they talk about these battles, they talk about these wars, but we never see it. And we never get anything that can be a close enough depiction to what that would actually look and feel like, okay? If someone comes back from the war in Motherland Fort Salem, right? If someone comes back from a war traumatized, what caused that trauma? Because all I've seen is people use magic at each other for like 5 minutes at a time. And then the fight is over. So I want to know, try to give me a scene where you're pinned down and your teammates get swept up in a fucking tornado. Your fucking squad mates' body parts are flying up all around you. You're holding a squad mate's hand and looking them in the eyes, telling them it'll be alright, trying to scream over the sound of destruction around you, and suddenly all you're holding is their arm. Yeah, that sounds pretty traumatic, doesn't it? But we don't get anything close to that in the show. Not to say that the show isn't gritty, but let's be honest, the longest fight scene we had in season 1 had no magic at all. That is a red flag for me. Now, the thing about the season 2 trailer is it made me realize something. Maybe I was the one who started projecting my expectations onto Motherland Fort Salem. The reason I think that is because I thought this was a show about a military, I thought this was a show about an army. I thought that this was a show about war. So we would see war. We would see battles, right? But it's not. It's not that. The trailer makes me think that we will never actually see a real battlefield. The war that these girls are fighting is more a war of these girls are more like SEAL Team 6 as opposed to the recruit that you play in like the original Call of Duty games. This isn't Saving Private Ryan over here. This is Inglourious Bastards. That's what the show is making me realize. So what I want to see, those long drawn out battles and all that, that's not going to happen. Because it's very clear from the season 2 trailers and stuff. This is more like a spy. It's becoming more like a spy thing, counterintelligence, SEAL Team 6 type of thing. I don't have a problem with that. Like I said, the concept is really good. Execution is pretty good. The characters are great. And maybe I had no reason to hate on them for not being able to show me the world building in an adequate way. But I think for me, the reason that was because of one of the core elements of the story, which is like women in this world are conscripted into the army. That's crazy. That's actually crazy, guys. Do you know what it takes for a government to announce that people will be conscripted into a military, into the army? You gotta have a good reason for it. You know what I'm saying? And that's the other problem I have with the show is like, I don't see a good enough reason for conscription here, especially if the main threat is terrorists that you just learned about. Then justify the 4 centuries of conscription. That needs to be justified. Like, I understand if it started as witches need to be raised by witches in a witch-run institution, which is why, or not raised, but educated by witches, which is why they were conscripted. But like after 250 years, at some point we gotta like, you know what I'm saying? At some point after like 300 years, people are gonna be like, yo, I'm tired of sending my little girls to you for no fucking reason. And then when my little girls come back, they're not my little girls anymore. They've got trauma. They've got scars psychologically and physically, that kind of thing. So yeah, that's my problem with Motherland Fort Salem. And I hope season 2 will be better.